Now, before we get started with this project, I want to talk about the chapter as a whole. In order to get up and running quickly in After Effects, I think the fastest way to learn is to just complete a project. So this chapter, we're going to complete one entire workflow to create a bumper graphic. This is a graphic that will appear between scenes to create a transition from one video section to another video section. In order to start this workflow, we just need to import some footage. So let's get started with the import process. If you don't have a blank project open, just open a blank After Effects project, and then double-click in the project panel to open the import dialog box. I want you to navigate to your exercise files folder, and in there go to the footage section. Under footage, I want you to go to the video area. Usually if I know I'm going to work with video, I like to import that first, just so I can make sure that my composition's frame rate matches my video source footage. So in here, I want you to choose the stair rundown.mov file. You can import it as footage, and then just click Open. Once it's imported, look in the top of the project panel, and you'll notice the pixel dimensions, duration, and frame rate of the file. Now I want to choose just a specific section of this video. So to do that quickly, I'm going to click on the video file and just drag it down here to the composition button. This will create a new comp that'll automatically match the pixel dimensions and frame rate of my video footage. Now to choose only a specific section, let's go ahead and scrub with our current time indicator down the timeline. I want to move down the timeline to around 56 seconds. If you want to go to a specific area in the timeline, go ahead and just click in the time indicator area and type 5600 and press return, and now we're at 56 seconds. Since this is where I want the footage to start, I'm going to go ahead and click and drag on the work area start little icon here in the left side of my timeline. When you drag to the right, if you hold down Shift, it'll snap to the current time indicator. You could also press B on your keyboard, and that'll move the beginning of the work area to your current time indicator. Now I want this to be exactly 10 seconds, so I'm going to go back to my time, click on it, and type plus 10, 10 seconds, 0 frames. Plus will move you down the timeline. So I can press return, and now I know I'm 10 seconds down the timeline. So we could change our work area end just by clicking on that same sort of icon on the right side of the timeline, or just press N as in Nancy. When you press N, it creates the end of your work area duration. Now this is only 10 seconds. So here's a neat little shortcut. If you automatically want to match the duration of your composition to your work area, all you have to do is control click or right click in the work area and then choose trim comp to work area. Now my work area is going to match the duration of the video footage. Now another interesting note, notice it says frame 0 is actually 56. It keeps the time code setting to the start of your composition, so you always know that's where the footage actually started from. If this bothers you, you could go to Composition Settings, and change the start time code back to 0. I'm just going to go ahead and leave it at 56 and click Cancel because this is perfectly fine for what we need to do right now. Now let's work on importing some graphics. Double-click in the Project panel, and I want you to navigate back in your Exercise Files Footage folder to the PSD section. In here, I want you to click once on the Training Swoosh PSD, and then come down to the Import As pull-down. Change that from footage to composition retain layer sizes. When you do that, now you can go ahead and click Open. Just make sure Photoshop Sequence is not selected. When I click Open, it's going to give me a double check to make sure that I'm importing it as a composition with retain layer sizes, but it also gives me the option to keep the layer styles editable. I want to go ahead and do that. I'll just click OK. Now notice I've got a new composition that's been created, and if we look at the pixel dimensions, it's 1280 by 720. Those were the pixel dimensions of the actual file inside of Photoshop. Now, the duration of the composition is 10 seconds. If yours is different, that just means you created a different composition at some point in time that was a different duration. If you need to change the duration of your comp, with the Training Swoosh comp selected, just go to Composition Settings, and make sure that the duration is set to 10 seconds. Now I'll go ahead and just click OK. The Training Swoosh composition is going to be the comp that we'll use for our final output. So let's just double click on the Training Swoosh comp, and you can see this is overall the style of the graphic that we're going to be creating. Now there's only one other graphic that we need to import, and that's the H+ logo. So let's go ahead and double click back in the project panel and navigate in your footage folder to the AI folder. In here, I want you to choose the h+_sport.ai file. In here, we'll just import this as footage. So we can go ahead and click open, and it's going to merge all the layers down to one layer, and that's perfectly fine. So let's click OK. And now I have a separate layer that's just for my H+ Sport logo. If we double click on that layer to preview it, you can see it's right here in my composition. So this works perfectly fine. To make sure we're back in the training swoosh comp, let's just double click and we're all set to actually start our animation. But for now, we've got our import set up in our project. We have all the footage that we need, and we have our basic composition settings set up so we're ready for animation.